Today, the idea would be to share some of the things that I find interesting that we have done in the last couple of years. We have had brilliant speakers yesterday, and I'm not sure how much I can add to your experience, but let's see what is there. So while I was getting ready for this small presentation, I was trying to think of some experience that I have personally felt, which has stayed with me for some time. We are sum total of our experiences. It took me back many years back, I think about 15 years back. I was in Pune. If any of you are familiar with that city, I was in Pune for a project and I was staying back over a weekend. It was a Sunday morning and I had nothing to do. So I decided to take a walk. I was staying in a place called Koregaon Park. It's a beautiful locality in Pune, leafy, nice, old style, lots of bungalows, lots of beautiful establishments. I thought of exploring the place. So I got out of my hotel, I went for a long walk. I walked for about 30 minutes and I was happily soaking in the vibe of the place. I was enjoying the place and it started to rain. It was a cloudy day. It was cold by Pune standards. It was October, November. And it started raining really, really hard. I stood under a tree for some time trying to save myself from the rain. But the rain was too hard and I got drenched really, really quickly. And being a Sunday morning, there were no transport available because it was a Sunday morning, no establishments were open at that hour. There was no place really I could go and take, save myself from the rain. So I started walking back. And as I was walking back, there was just this one restaurant that had just opened. The lunch guest hadn't arrived. It was absolutely empty. And they were just preparing for the day. I walked in, it had outdoor seating, it had indoor seating. I just wanted to save myself from the rain. I was miserable and I wanted to just sit down for some time till the rain went away. I couldn't have gone in because I was dripping, so I sat at one of the outside tables and somebody came, gave me a glass of water. There was a menu that was given to me. And all I could think of was a warm bowl of soup. I ordered a tom yum soup. This is not this bowl of soup, this is an image I downloaded from the net. Little later, a bowl of soup was placed in front of me. It was bright red, and I took a spoonful of the soup. It was just perfect. It was hot, tart, tangy. It was everything a bowl of soup was meant to be. And I took a few more spoons of the soup and I closed my eyes. It was perfect. By the time I finished the soup, I was standing up properly. The misery had gone away and there was a smile on my face. I walked back. But there was a magic in that moment. Many years later, whenever people asked me where to go, if they wanted to dine out in Pune, I would take up the name of the restaurant. The restaurant was called Malaka Spice. It's still there. The restaurant doesn't know that I had a wonderful experience. They didn't pay me to talk about it. They don't know that I'm talking about it. I became a brand advocate for the restaurant. That's what experiences are. So when you have those powerful experiences, you tend to retain them for a long, long time, and you talk about them to people you care for, your friends and family. You become advocates for those brands. But is there an analogy? Were there things that works for experiential marketing? I think there are. So a couple of things went right. Me, absolutely weight was the right audience. The restaurant was the environment just there, fit for the occasion, and that perfectly executed bowl of soup was the engagement that was needed. All these elements came together to create a magic. And that's what experiential marketing is. At the simplest core of experiential marketing is that when you give a brand experience to the end consumer in an environment which is conducive, in a manner which leaves an impression in the audience's mind, and you just hope that it's strong enough. In a good scenario, he becomes cognizant of the brand. In a better scenario, he adopts. In a best scenario, he becomes a brand advocate. And very simple, I'll keep it very, very simple. This is the framework of any experiential campaign. You know your audience. You choose an environment to deliver the experience, which is just fit for the occasion. One simple, strong idea, that's the engagement. That is the uniqueness in that campaign, which puts the brand in front in its true essence. Then is your execution mastery, that how well you are able to deliver that engagement idea. Often, your client, your brand will ask whether the idea is scalable. That's an important thing to ensure that the ROI is there, right? Can you replicate it in multiple environments? That becomes an important metric. And lastly, in today's day and age, are you able to generate, or are you making it in a manner where user-generated content is there? Is it shareable? You would look at virality of the content that is getting generated. So this is fundamentally what the framework of an experiential campaign is. Every campaign is different. Every audience is different. Every demographic would be different. Nothing is the same ever. And typically, an experiential campaign will have a lot of human elements, because you need to go to places where the audience is, and you need to have those human interventions to deliver. So each campaign is unique. What I'll do now is I'll show some of the campaigns that we sort of designed over the years and which I felt were interesting. Few would be absolutely basic because the audience and the environment demanded it. Some would have some take or digital interventions. So let's see what we have. Some time back, we were asked to develop a campaign for Fair and Lovely face wash and Dove conditioner. Classic brands, widely accepted, recognized. The challenge was that we had to deliver it in a rural setting to women who had no idea about these products, who have never used these products. So for us, it was learning because we had never worked in those environments. I'll show you how rural is rural. So some of the images that you're seeing here are the actual audience that we interacted with. It was deep inside Gangetic plains of West Bengal. You can see what kind of livelihoods women have there. Soap is still the product of choice. So washing face, washing hair, washing body, soap is all pervasive. Acne is a big problem there because of pollution, because of the harsh water that's there, because of no access to beauty products. Firstly, we need to understand this audience and their behavioral pattern. How do you reach out to these women? How do you actually begin a conversation with them? This is not your mall-going audience. So we went to some of these villages, we studied the pattern, and what we realized were there are a few key unique insights here. Women were generally free during the middle part of the day. Men folk would be in the fields or doing something else. So they would be available in the middle part of the day, say 12 to 4, that is the time. But the challenge was that these are very conservative environments. How do you go with a team, with what you have to do, and how do you begin a conversation? We had to find something that would bridge that gap between us and the audience that we are trying to establish a connection with. So we figured two things were there in these villages. One, there is a hawker who would come to the village off and on with a push cart, and he is called a feriwala. So he would have very simple things like bangles, bindi, kumkum, and few elements which rural women would use, and he would take his small cart across the villages. He was a familiar character in the village, and women would trust them. The other was a cultural element in Bengal called baul. So baul singers are folk performers who would go through the villages, perform, ask for charity, and they were again familiar characters. So we decided to use these two to bridge that gap and create a campaign that is meaningful for the audience, and we are able to have a conversation with them. Also, this was Fair and Lovely then, it is not there anymore. So we named the campaign as Rupeer Fairywala. We, carried the typeface and created the key visual for the campaign. It's called Rupeer Fairywala. Fairywala is a hawker. Rupee is beauty. So, hawker of beauty. That was our campaign. So this is the simplest execution. If you look at the image and the top left of the corner, that's how rural we went. There were no other way of carrying what you are trying to showcase around without a cart. So that is the environment. You see a bowl performing and women are gathering, and we had our cart which had the products, and we did weight sampling with the women. So that was their first exposure to a face wash, first exposure to conditioner, and they were happy. They came forward, they engaged with us, and there were tremendous positive feedback that we got from that first interaction. The client loved the campaign. I spoke about scalability, that how big can you make it. This kind of a campaign makes sense only when you are able to do it at a scale. This was the scale. Over a period of 90 days, we went to 835 villages, and we did weight sampling with 7,000 women. Sometime later, another opportunity came up with Lifebuoy hand wash. Ubiquitous product, everybody knows about it, we all use it. The challenge that was thrown to us, again, this was a campaign in Calcutta. As a city, it has a huge culture of street food, and very, very affordable, delicious street food getting sold all across the city. The consumers were mostly office goers or people who are out and about in the day, and that affordable, good food was very, very vital for the lifeline of the city. The challenge was that they really had no way to clean their hands before consuming that food, because the food was being served on a street, and whatever water the street food vendor would give to them would be not clean enough. That would lead to gastroenteric diseases. So we were asked to think of a way to counter that challenge and see whether we can initiate a habit change. So this is the environment that we are talking about. Street food, huge population consuming the food, using their hands, and top left corner, that is the way water would be given to someone to wash their hands. That was the challenge. And our solution, we identified about 90 hotspots in the city where these street food corners would be there, and a simple intervention. We created a kiosk which had water and a Lifebuoy hand wash. Absolutely elementary, no take, nothing. But this is what was needed as an intervention for this situation, for this environment, for this audience. And we evangelized hand washing. We had people who would go and talk to people, bring them there, and they would wash their hands. And this went on for some time. And in fact, some of the hawkers who were selling the food, they were appreciative that we were doing it for them. Scalability again. We went to 90 hotspots and we made 20,000 people wash their hands before consuming the food. So that was another campaign. Another simple intervention, absolutely different context, absolutely different audience. So we have Durga Puja, which is very similar to Dasai here. We celebrated for 5 days there. So for 5 days, people would dress up and they would come out, be part of the celebration, wearing new clothes every day, new makeup, new look every day. Around same time, Lakme launched a range called Glitter. And the quest was that how do you get the brand across to women and have them adopt the brand, have them consume the brand. So we tried to do something very tactical. We identified certain shopping districts where the women would be there during the day, and they would buy clothes, and along with they'll buy beauty products as well. And we identified those places, and we created a salon. And we placed a salon at that place, which was air-conditioned, absolutely speak and span, hygiene in place. And we told the women that, look, you have come from home and you are shopping here, we can give you a quick makeover. Try our new products. So there was the perfect environment. The women dropped by for 10 minutes. We gave them a makeover. And once they were convinced about the product, we pointed out the store, the Lakme beauty salons, the physical stores that were there, and they would go and buy the product. We'll give them coupon to buy the product. So it was a tactical marketing where the women were there. We created an environment that helped them, that allowed them to experience the product and just go and buy them. So you see this is an iconic market. It's called a new market. That's the salon we created in place, very close to the shopping district. We had celebrities dropping by, announcing their arrival on social media so that people were there to have that interaction with the brand. And this is what was happening inside. We had trained beauty advisors who were applying the product. And then people were, of course, at the extreme right, you can see the physical store where people were going and buying the product. Simple intervention, a bit of digital there because the arrival of the celebrity was being announced there. There was a hashtag, slightly evolved campaign. Very different product category. It's hugely popular brand. It's an iconic brand in India. It's here as well. Everybody knows Dabur Honey. And it's part of our daily consumption. It's breakfast. It's myriad things. It's honey lemon tea. It's everywhere. The question that came to us is that, can we suggest honey as a replacement of sugar? And what is the logical way of doing that? How can you do that? And there were multiple stakeholders in this campaign. The client was there, the radio was there. In a lot of these campaigns, we had radio supporting us, and there was a lot of common brainstorming that happened. Sometimes there would be a TV partner. We sat down to think about it, and we figured that we consume, I mean, if you told anybody to replace sugar with honey, that will probably not be a very practical thing to do on a day-to-day basis. It had its occasion. But you can actually begin a conversation. You can have a dialogue that what is possible. What are those moments when you can actually have honey replace sugar? And we figured that we are a sweet-loving country. We have festivities all around the year, the big ones, and the consumption of sweet dishes, sweetmeats, desserts go up a lot. And in each of our cities, we would have iconic shops who have been around for decades, family business, and we would all love those shops for their sweets that they sell. So we created a campaign. We identified 3 opportunities. First, Ganpati. That's the beginning of our festive season in India. So Ganpati is huge in Maharashtra. So the campaign started there. We reached out to sweet shops. We found out which those iconic shops were, and we told them, look, we'll give you the honey. You create your sweets with using the honey. The honey is ours, the art is yours, the craft is yours. So the idea was that sweets would be placed there. They'll be marked with Dabur Honey, and we'll give free sampling to people, and anybody who are wanting to buy, we would give it to them. Very simple intervention. Next, we came to Calcutta Durga Puja. Again, iconic stores who have been there for decades, and people love them. We gave them honey. They created the sweets, sampling and sales. And lastly, we came to North India, Delhi, in Diwali. So I think in Delhi, we would have about 15 to 20 name shops who are big, and they took our honey and created those sweets, and they were on display and sale. One idea is that, you know, not all the interventions will have to be tech-heavy, digital-heavy. You just need to understand what your context is and what works, and also what is simple to do. Since we have been talking about food, there was another funny thing happened. Back in India, coffee started growing in popularity. It still outsells tea any day, and especially among the youth. So Indian Tea Association came to us, and they said that it's a trend, it's a worrying trend, that coffee is getting more and more popular within the younger audiences. What can you do about it? And we realized that there are 2 ways of having tea. One is that you consume it with milk and sugar, like it's prevalent in North India and many other places. And then there is that other kind of tea which you sort of, understand a little bit more about, a more evolved choice when you talk about Darjeeling, first flush, second flush, and you really develop an understanding of tea which you cannot expect from youth. So we were trying to think that what is the intervention that you can do about it. So we created a campaign, and this was with a radio station. We created a campaign called Chai Ho Jaye. Very, very simple. And there was an informality in the call out. We didn't want to make it very heavy. It was kept simple so that youth would understand it. And we went to colleges across the country. We would have gone to about 60 odd colleges. And we created this. We created a tea bar. We took mixologists there who are actually, really skilled bar baristas, and they created 19 mocktails out of tea, some with Assam, some with Darjeeling, and the students actually had their first tea and enjoyment with first sip of tea, and their enjoyment began there. Simple intervention, but spot on. You just went when the students were available, free, and they tried out the tea, and this had a digital component. There was the hashtag, so the social media buzz started from there. Another name brand, as big as it gets, it's a legacy brand. So what do you do about it? So they came out with a variant where they were talking about calcium. And what do you do about a toothpaste brand which is all pervasive? Everyone uses it every morning, right? There's hardly anything new that you can do about it. So one thought that came to our mind that we can do a bit of tech integration here. So we said that if someone has a beautiful smile, it needs to be insured with Colgate. You have a beautiful smile and insure it with Colgate. That was the thought that we carried. So we used a face detection algorithm which was able to detect a smile. And somehow, we created you coded it, and we figured that how can you put a score to a smile? How can you measure a smile? Very simple intervention. There was a bit of tech that was involved in it, a screen and a camera. So and this was happening in malls. So basically the people would go stand, get themselves registered, stand in front of the camera and smile. All they had to do was smile, and the software would pick up and give a score on that smile. And we were honoring that smile, that you have a beautiful smile, protect it with Colgate. That was the thought about it. Very simple execution, bit of tech there. And this is what came up. That was the setup. And we also integrated a very simple digital quiz on oral health whenever that opportunity came. So people were answering our questions also, and they were getting hampers. And we used this technology later also. There was another client of ours. There's a brand of phone called Techno. It's a mobile brand, handset brand. And Kumbh Mela happens in India. And it's one of the largest religious festivals in the world, and millions of people would gather there. And people do take selfies when they go to some of these places. So we created a booth where again the same technology was used. In place of the TV screen, there was a giant phone, and there was a camera which was running that algorithm. So people had to stand in front of the camera and smile, and they were getting a selfie which had a beautiful landscape of Kumbh Mela in it with the branding of the phone. And that was getting pushed onto their phone through WhatsApp, and which again they were sharing on WhatsApp, on social media. Very simple intervention, but something that works. Often I go to client meetings, and clients have a fascination that use VR. VR karte hain, AR karte hain. They sort of try to use the technology as a gimmick. They feel that using a piece of technology would somehow make the campaign more meaningful. And most often we feel that that's unnecessary. That's a tool. Technology is a tool. Technology is not the idea. So when you have the right idea, you use a piece of technology to amplify that idea. Here was a case. There was this university in Dehradun. So it was called University of Petroleum and Energy Sciences. A bit new in terms of the courses and the curriculum that they were offering. So in its first year of the university, they wanted to reach out to people and talk about their university and have the admissions going. So they were going to these multiple cities and meeting parents and children who were eligible for their courses, and was trying to sort of convince them that the university is good, the teachers were there. But the question came that the parents and the students were not sure that it's a new campus, how is the campus going to be like? And what is the life inside campus like? And we had no way of asking people to go to Dehradun and actually visit the campus. We used VR in this case to showcase how the campus looks like. We created content in VR, gave them VR headsets, and while the conferences or the meetings were going on, students and parents actually saw how the campus was. So this is how the counseling session went, and we had a booth where we had VR headsets where the campus was being shown to parents and children. And the effect was immediately visible. They were happy to see how the campus looks like, that was as close to the real campus as we could have taken them. Today, you would know that we use AR tools on our apps to artificially create environments where the products are visible. Like you have Lenskart. You go to the website, you put an image of your face, and you can keep on changing spectacles to see that how it looks, how it appears, before actually shortlisting a pair. We have one more client called Wellspun. They are into tiles. So basically, you can aim your phone while running their app on your floor and keep choosing the tiles. It shows how your drawing room, how your bedroom is going to look like with your tiles. These are very simple tools that are available today, visualization tools which run on phone. But what if you went opposite? What if there was a situation where this visualization will not work, but it would be needed? One such product category is paints. Multiple products, thousands of shades. It's not possible to replicate it on phone. There are visualization tools, but it's not quite the same. Like when you paint the exterior of your house, so there are multiple shades, multiple products that come into play. Somewhere there are textures, so that's a different class of product. When you are putting simple decorative paints outside, exterior paints, that's a different product. If there are doors and windows, that's enamel, that's another kind of product. And every product category would have thousands of shades. So when you're painting your house, that technology somehow doesn't work. You sort of need to have more deeper engagement with the consumer. This is a campaign that we run out of our Nepal office here. So while a house is getting built, the exteriors are getting ready, we offer a service to the house owner, to the contractor who's in charge. We offer them visualization, how the house is going to look like. So on the left, you are looking at the house which is just getting ready. And this is what we create. We do layering of the house, and we give them options as to how the house is going to look. And we give them the shade codes, we give them the product codes that this is your house is going to look like, these are the products you can use. And a physical copy, and sometimes these images go on WhatsApp, Viber. Very simple integrations, and this helps them decide. This drives consideration, this drives adoption, this drives brand loyalty. Very simple, right? The magic is in the scale. We do 20,000 of these every year. And over a period of a decade, we would have done these visualizations for about 1.5 lakh houses here. So that's where brand engagement comes. So today, you can say that how the exteriors of houses appear in the valley, in the rest of the country, a bit of brand engagement is there. Very simple intervention, tech doesn't work, but the idea works. This would be the last campaign I would pick up. One very interesting in this day and age, one very interesting idea that comes when you run hybrid campaigns. So a bit of tech, a bit of on-ground situational work, and a bit of digital. So it says, Apurupa Tumi. Apurupa is beautiful, Tumi is you. So it's basically Lakme's campaign, Beautiful You. Again, we go back to Durga Puja, and we know that women would come out, deck up for those 5 days, try to have a different look every single day. And it's the time of the year when you are out and about, you're meeting your friends, and it's important that you look your best, you have that confidence on you. But it's not easy. like if you're not going to a beauty salon, it's not easy to apply a lot of those products, right? They require skill, and a lot of the time you do not have the resources, you do not have the skill, you do not have the time to do it. So we decided to create DIY videos, do-it-yourself videos, to teach women that how to use some of those products. What we did was that we had a celebrity stylist who would typically work on movies to create those looks using those products, explain what those products are, and have small videos where the application was being shown. And we had dedicated social media handles on Facebook and Insta where those looks were floated, and we said that, look, we created 5 looks for these 5 days, and this is how you do it. And we ran a contest. We ran this hashtag and we ran a contest. We said that you create this look at your home, use this product, create this look, send us those images on WhatsApp, on our social media handles, and leave your phone number. And we'll choose the winners for each of those days, and eventually it became a contest and it became big. Celebrities came in to give call outs that, you know, I am wearing this look, so you create this, and there would be, on the day of the contest, the finale, you would get to have FaceTime with me, you would get to meet me. But was that all in this campaign? We knew that a lot of women will not be able to create these looks, right? But we had some 200 odd beauty parlors, Lakme beauty salons, where beauty advisors were trained to create these looks. So we had separate sessions for them where they were taught that in case women are unable to create these looks themselves, if they come to the salon, you create the look for them. And simultaneously, the retail was energized. So there was visual merchandising at retail, and the products were placed. We knew that the women will go and ask for those products. So it was a 360 campaign. While we were driving it online, we were promoting it in online, the footprints were firmly on ground. So the salons were ready, the retail was ready, and this is how. So these were the posts, so where the products were visible. The gentleman there was the beauty advisor, the stylist actually, he's a celebrity stylist based out of Calcutta, Aniruddha. And we created these small videos, told women how to create these looks. So this was the start of the campaign. And that was the influencer call out, and eventually this is how the contest played out. The winners are there. Those are the looks that we had created. I think it gathered about 55,000 unique views, some fantastic number in impressions and reach. Bit of digital, bit of thoughtful on ground, bit of retail integration, and we had a fantastic campaign. So this is how the fallback was. The women went to the store and they got the looks, and we ran a successful campaign. So I think at the end of it, at the core of it, something very simple, that we are human beings and we look for human connections. And we crave for empathy, we crave for support, we crave for encouragement. And when a brand puts us at the center of their focus, center of their attention, makes us champion, we embrace them. At the end of it, that's as simple as that is. I would leave you with this thought. Thank you so much.